My name is Diane Smith, and I am past president and and I hope you all know it by now, Anetsa Gada Garden Club. Now, what does Anetsa Gada mean? Ball ground. It's in the Cherokee Indian language, and in 1951 this club was established. And what we want to do is I want to tell you that Tammy Brinkley is our current president. She was not able to attend today. She was on vacation, and it didn't go over real well to tell her husband that they couldn't go because of this. So anyway, and I don't have my regular glasses, so I'm going to have these. I borrowed a pair. At this time, I'm going to ask Beverly Pogue if she will come, and we'll begin our celebration with an invocation.
Welcome, everybody, and this is a prayer, and it's a prayer in a poem form, and it was written by Carol Keefe. She's from the Morning Garden Club in Eufaula, Alabama, so she's a fellow National Garden Club member. And it says, Lord, we know you are a gardener. You hear us best when we are on our knees, the perfect position to both pray and cultivate. We feel your presence in the warmth of the sun, the song of the breeze, and the sweet smell of the earth. We pray that you will tend us as you do the flowers of the field and roadside, that we might grow and prosper. Root our faith deep so that we may draw nourishment for our souls and make it strong to hold us fast against the storms of life that we may suffer. Support and shelter us against the ill wills of fate so that we might grow toward your light. You know that all of us are not destined to grow straight and tall, so we ask you for the grace to flourish where we can. Be we sturdy like the shrub, graceful and bending like the willow, or searching and in need of support like the vine. Help us to remember that although our foliage is of many shapes and colors, we are all very much alike inside. Remind us too, when we flower, to maintain a sense of humility, and modestly thought through our gifts and achievements may be great. They are only a reflection of you. We pray that our seeds germinate and flourish so that we can nurture them and they too will grow toward your light. Help us to discourage the weeds that so often sprout from human nature and to find a space where we can grow and prosper in your glory. We ask all these things in thy name. Amen.
Thank you for coming. Isn't this a beautiful day to celebrate ball ground and in this beautiful garden? We couldn't have asked for a more beautiful time. We are here to dedicate the marble kiosk that celebrates our donors, those that really help make this possible. We have a lot of thank yous to give out, and the very first thank you I'd like to give out is our garden club ladies. Now these ladies, a lot of them worked very tirelessly in this garden. They got dirty, got sore, couldn't move. And we also had the ladies who cheered us on, who made all the glorious food. We all can cook in the garden club, let me tell you that. We can cook. But we would like for you to recognize the ladies of the ball ground and Anetsa Gada Garden Club. Ladies, would you raise your hand? Wave. We have 35 members now, and we started the club in 1951. Last year when we had our little dedication, we had one of the original members was still with us. So we've had a long history. Another group that really deserves praise has gone without food. Many times they have no food at all. They have been drugged here and there. And by I mean drug, they've all developed a drug problem. That means they've been drugged by the ladies of the garden club wherever we want to go and help unload things. And we would like for you to give a hand to the husbands of the ladies of the garden club. Raise your hand. This couldn't happen without cooperation from the husbands, and we do not have any divorces yet. So. Um, we also have a partnership with the City of Ball Ground. This would not happen without their help and their support. And I want to ask anybody in the city if you will raise your hand and wave. I'm going to talk about you a little bit later, but wave if you're in the city. All right. We have a special guest today. We are in the Laurel District of the Georgia Garden Club, and we have the district director, and his name is Dr. John Barnett. Guess what, guys? He's a guy, and he's in charge of all the ladies. Dr. John Barnett is right here. We thank him for coming. He came from Rome to attend. We're going to let him say something a little bit later. I'm going to talk to you about what you're looking at, this beautiful garden. We have had 3 celebrations since the dedication or groundbreaking in June of 2015. So this is the 3rd gathering that we've had, and in that time we now have sold 520 brick. Those of you who do not have any, there are applications over here. But that is how we fund the garden. We get $11 goes to the engraver, and $14 will go to the garden to develop it. We also now have our beautiful kiosk, and we can't thank Evan Howell enough. This is from the Blue Ridge Marble and Granite Company in Nelson, and it was a gift to us with all the engraving, everything. And what a wonderful tribute to the people that love Ball Ground that this company gave us that wonderful kiosk, and you're going to get to see it. Beverly Pogue, though, she really got this started. She thought maybe we could do a few little flowers around town. We already do the baskets uptown. We thought, man, it'd be nice to have a little garden spot somewhere. And so from the 3 of us, Jenny Byers and I and Beverly, we just kind of had an idea that this might work. So we talked to the city, and here it is. This is what the little garden that we thought about has become. And it's through the effort of everybody that all this has happened. But you got to have somebody to get an idea and try to round up the troops and try to get it to be accomplished. You will be able to tour the garden after the ceremony and enjoy the refreshments, but I first want to tell you what you're looking at. You will see we have a daylily walk right behind you, and you can walk through it. We had a wedding here yesterday, and they took pictures of the bride coming through the daylilies, and I just thought that would have been perfect to have something for that, and it worked beautifully. So that's our third wedding, and another 4th coming at the end of the summer. But the daylilies were given to us. Much of what you see out here has been given to us. The daylilies are beautiful. We're continuing to dig, and when we have a plant sale and you see daylilies, it might be something like one of those. Right now we're just letting you guess because we couldn't keep up with all the different names. One of the things that you might notice on the other side is a butterfly garden. And the butterfly garden is in the shape of the swallowtail butterfly, which is the butterfly of the state of Georgia. We are actually on the Rosalind Carter Butterfly Trail. You have to apply and meet certain standards in order to do that, and we have done it. And Jean Deese and Beverly and Jenny have worked so hard over there. We also have an area which is going to be an heirloom garden. This is still being under construction. And if you have maybe a heritage plant in your yard, maybe your grandmother had, or something from long ago, we would love to have it come and visit and stay in our garden. We'll take good care of it. The next one is a bog garden. That's new. It's still not finished. I worked on it till late last night, but it's going to be wonderful. If you understand a bog plant, bog garden is using pitcher plants, the ones you see with the close up and eat bugs, and it'll be wonderful for the children. But we'll have lilies and all sorts of different plants. Right now it's about 85% complete, but we're still working on it. Becky Hoffman was put in charge, and all her helpers, of the herb garden. And the herb garden has pots, individual pots, and they're all labeled and have flowers around it. And if something gets eaten up, we can just pull out the pot and put another pot in. Don't have to dig, which is wonderful. We have the engraved brick, which are back here, where you'll find the bricks that you have purchased or in memory of different people. We also have people who bought bricks for their dog. And we can now make the dog prints on the brick. So if you're interested in that, we can let you get a brick with the dogs on it. The children's garden is a real special place. It is still under construction. It's on the other side of the little bridge here. But I'll tell you a story to let you know just how important it is for us to teach children. We have had an invitation for the school to send children out here to see the garden, take a tour, and that did happen at the end of school. We have had 170 children and teachers out here, and I toured them around the garden, and I talked to them about what they were looking at, and we went over this direction, and we saw there were redbud trees, and the redbud trees were different. Some are purple leaves, some are green. I talked to them a little bit about that. And this particular group of children were 80 first graders, like herding little ducks. But you don't know what they're getting out of it, but anyway. But they toured the garden, and then they walked over to the burger bus to get their food. And later on in the week, the fifth graders came and did the same thing, and they brought the burgers out here, and they had a picnic. But let me tell you what happened with the little first graders. I was ready to go home, and so I got in my car, and I just kind of followed them down the street. They would go to the railroad track in the parking lot, and the policemen stopped traffic, and they got to walk across the street, and it was so exciting. And then they saw I was in that car, and they were waving, Miss Smith. And then this little boy yelled out, and he said, "Miss Smith, look, there's 2 more redbud trees." That child had learned that, had looked, and these were the arbor trees that we had at the beginning of for Arbor Day. The city put them out. He recognized that. And I'm a teacher 32 years. I'm retired. But I just was thrilled that that little fella, first grader, had learned something from his little short visit, and he learned that that was a redbud tree, and he recognized him. I thought that was just great. We also have the native plant garden. That's kind of my favorite. But we have plants that are native. When we say native, maybe they were here. They're not English. They're not Japanese. They're actually were here back when the Indians were here. And the really highlighted the garden. We have pink lady slipper orchids. And I had collected about 25. Now these are on the endangered list, and we got permission to do this. But we put out 25, and you just go cross your fingers, they'll live, because you have to do it a certain way. But we had 13 blooms this year. And one was even made a seed pod. Now that's, if you know anything about those plants, that's very unusual. So we were just thrilled with that. I also have some turkey beard there, and that's also on the endangered list. They grow wild at my house, but I brought one over here so you can see what they look like. You won't mow them down because they look like grass. But we have some wonderful plants. The sensitive briar, which if you touch it, it closes up. Has the little pink puffballs. Kids can learn about that. That's one of the best plants to teach children beginning about plants. And also, we now have a Japanese garden. Miss Judy Doherty she's lived in Japan. Her father lived there in the military, and they learned how to do Japanese gardens. So she said, we could just do one here. So we did. And it's over here in the corner. It's still not finished, the ground cover. And there's going to be moss on the mountain where the tree comes out at an angle. Everything has a purpose. So it's going to be fabulous, and the kids can learn some new things. We're also looking for there's a granite lantern that we want to get, and we're going to work on some people that could afford it, that have a garden nearby that might could afford it. So anyway, we're going to make this be the most wonderful place there is. But we do thank Judy for all her hard work, and she is not too tall. So we have people who really helped her. My husband Mike and John Bird here, and Jim Bird, excuse me, and another volunteer fireman. They got over there and moved all those rocks from where we delivered them over, fixed it, and Jim's come back numerous times and helped her organize. So we are so thankful because we can't do it without help on some of those things. We now come to a highlight. We have something new out here. Look at that bridge. And you'll never guess how it got there. Our own Eric Wilmarth, the city planner of the city of Ball Ground, is the builder. And not only just Eric, but his freshman high school son, Jared. Now, raise your hand, Jared. Where are you? Right over here. Now, when you walk over here and you see those marble blocks, I want you to understand that that young man dug those out for the footing for the bridge. And I don't know how he did it. He's got muscles. Jared, your dad's already told me he can take you 2 out of 3. So, yeah, for now. But we appreciate so much. Eric built the footbridge here, and he just yesterday, we're finishing up at the last second. We're going to have on the other side 2 loads of dirt, and it's going to raise it up a little bit higher. But you can walk on the bridge, and you can just don't go on the other side. One of the things, which is a kind of a surprise, we're having the kiosk dedication of our sponsors and so forth. Well, we just got to have a dedication for those bridges too. So we talked to our engraver over here for the brick, and we said, can you make something for Eric and Jared? So we did. So whenever you have the unveiling, if you see that little white cloth over there, we'll let Jared unveil that, and it'll have a tribute to them for building the bridges. So that's going to be forever. But this is, again, just the most beautiful place to come and just sit. We've had so many people come by. T.Y. Brown's back there. When one time he was just driving by and saw us out here digging, got out of his truck. He's a businessman. Got out of his truck and got on his hands and knees and helped us dig and put plants in the ground. Where are you going to get that but Ball Ground? It's just a wonderful place to be. The foundation is on an old store that's over there. So when you walk around, you'll see some of the remains of the footings from that old store. I want to thank you again for coming. We thank all the helpers who've made this possible. We have Larry Cavender is our own reporter who's a member of the Garden Club. We have a write-up every week in the Pickens Progress. So if you don't get that newspaper, you need to. It tells you all about what's going on in Ball Ground. We have photographers. Bill Snyder, one of our husbands, he's got the coolest pictures of it's a hummingbird moth. Did you know there's such a thing? It looks like a hummingbird, but it's a moth. Flitting through the butterfly garden, and he set it to music. And now we've drafted another person, Jim Bird. We've got him. If you've gone on the internet to the city, you will find a link to the videos that he's put together of our garden. He's done 3, and he's doing another one for today. And he's doing our video in here. So we've got 2 photographers, and they're just fabulous. So we're so thankful. So again, we're having weddings out here. We're having joy out here. It's just a beautiful place to be and just to rest. And we again thank you for coming today. And as we proceeded with the program, we're going to have some special announcements and presentations. But I just have to say, I want to thank my husband, Mike, for long suffering, putting up with all the things I do here. And can we give him a hand? Yeah, he's been very supportive and wonderful. And at this time, I would like for Eric Wilmarth, if you'll come up and, yeah. This is our bridge builder and city planner, Eric Wilmarth.
Thank you, Diane. Diane told you about the gardens, so I'm going to back up a few years. If you back up about 9 years ago, directly behind me, back up on the top of that hillside there, was a double-wide mobile home, had no doors, no windows, completely covered in kudzu. And it was owned by a very nice gentleman that we had to go to the men's state prison in Milledgeville and negotiate the purchase for. Right behind the big crepe myrtles where the Japanese garden is going was a house that was a burned out hull of a house that sat there probably 5 or 6 years before we acquired it. Right underneath the oak tree here was a little gray house, again, no doors, no windows, completely dilapidated. The area here you see along the stream, you did not see the stream. The kudzu, privet, and brush pretty much started here and went all the way to the road. You didn't see any of this. The city was able to acquire these grounds, put it together, and build the city hall here, but it was still lacking. And a couple years ago, Diane and Jenny Byers came in my office and Beverly, yeah. And they had this crazy idea about a garden. And I have to admit, Diane called me out the other day that I didn't believe them at first, and I really didn't. This group of ladies and their husbands have done an amazing job on the grounds here at City Hall. It's absolutely beautiful, but it's not a project that, like so many, where you just do a project and leave. And you say, okay, we did this, and it's great, and now the city needs to take care of it, or somebody else needs to take care of it. These ladies are here. I don't think a day goes by, but what a member of this garden club isn't here working on what's already been done. Yes, they're adding new, but there is absolutely nothing for the city and the taxpayers to maintain. These ladies do every bit of it on their own. Diane mentioned some of the folks in the community, and that's exactly what we are. You can have a city anywhere, but Ball Ground has really, over the past years, begun to really be a community. And so many of these things that we see, from the plants here to the planters that they maintain every year downtown, we can't say enough about the community and what these types of projects mean to moving the city forward. We get visitors in this garden every day. It's not about just coming to the garden. We do everything we can to try and bring as many customers to the doorsteps of our downtown merchants and businesses throughout the city. And every visitor that comes to town tends to spend money here, which makes our businesses successful. So it's more than just something beautiful to look at. It does contribute to the economic development of our city, and we greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to ask Karen Jordan. Now, she's our city clerk. How many do not know Karen Jordan? Probably no hands will go up. Karen, how long have you been city clerk? 32 years.
It's with pleasure that I get to read this proclamation today. Mayor Roberts was unable to be here, and he sends his regrets. He's gaining a daughter today. His son, Frazier, is getting married this afternoon, so he was unable to be here this morning, and I know he really hates that because he's so excited about what's happening here. And as all of us are very appreciative of all the hard work, as Eric said, there's not a day goes by that you don't look out here, and they're like little ants. They're just running everywhere, just always busy. So we're so blessed to be here in this little town and to have the workers and all that we have. Sorry. Okay, how's that? Away from the metal. Okay, all righty. So I'm going to read this proclamation that the mayor and council approved on Thursday night at our monthly meeting. And it says, whereas gardeners have a passion for nurturing the beauty and resources of the earth through the planting of seeds, the care of all plants, and the riches of their efforts, and whereas gardeners seek to add beauty, splendor, fragrance, and nutrition to our lives through the growing of herbs, vegetables, foliage, and flowers, and whereas gardeners work to preserve our country's traditional spirit of independence and initiative through innovation and hard work, and whereas gardeners advocate the importance of all creatures, large and small, that share our world and their roles in a balanced and productive ecology, and whereas gardening furnishes a challenging and productive activity for many citizens, for those just learning as well as those having years of experience, and whereas gardeners promotes a healthy lifestyle that lasts a lifetime, helps reduce stress from other areas of our life, teaches that rewards can come from diligent efforts, and whereas gardening enables members of the garden clubs across the nation and the world to serve others in the communities where they reside and work, now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor A.R. Roberts III, in an effort to acknowledge the importance of gardening and the numerous contributions of gardeners, designate the week of June 4th through the 10th, 2017, as National Garden Week. In witness thereof, I have unto set my hand and cause this seal of the city of Ball Ground to be affixed this 8th day of June, 2017. So I will put this up to you, and y'all can hold it for yourself. Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Miss Jenny Byers, and she will introduce our special guest, Dr. John Barnett. I think you stand back here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Diane. It is my privilege. I am Jenny Byers, and I'm the matriarch of the Garden Club. And it is my privilege to introduce our honored guest and our new Laurel District Director, Dr. John Barnett. And as Diane told you, he's from Rome, Georgia, and he's with the Three Rivers Garden Club, and he has served as president, vice president, and several committees for the club. He is a member of the Rome African Violet Study Group, where he has served as vice president and recording secretary. He has been on Rome Federated Garden Club's board of directors since 2009. Dr. John has served on Laurel District, the Garden Club of Georgia, Inc., and the Deep South Board of Directors. Not many men want to get with us, a bunch of ladies, but we really appreciate it. He has been Ronald McDonald House Papa Top Chairman for Laurel District, and the Garden Club of Georgia Ronald McDonald House Chairman as well. He was instrumental in the Laurel District with the Papa Top Can project. The 2016 project collected 603 pounds for the Ronald McDonald House. The Rome Federated Garden Clubs received National Garden Club's first place overall award for Dr. John's project, Cultivating Young Minds, a project at Northwest Georgia Boys and Girls Club in Rome. He is married to Kay for 44 years. He has 2 daughters and 4 granddaughters. Dr. John is the first male to lead the Laurel District and the first male district director of the Garden Club of Georgia. So please welcome Dr. John Barnett.
Good morning, Ball Ground, Georgia.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure to be here today, and I am just overwhelmed by your work here. Now, you know, in 2002, I had a stroke. My doctor told me I would never walk again. He told me that I would never do a lot of things again. But he also told me that I would never be able to speak. Well, I've shown him. Some of you know that I am a Baptist preacher, and he said that I would never preach again. Well, I've shown him. And you know that when a Baptist preacher takes off his wristwatch, puts it on the podium, and then later on he will say, "Now in closing," that means absolutely nothing. I promise not to take off my watch, and I promise not to say, "And now in closing," because that means absolutely nothing. And we do not want to take a lot of your precious time for fellowship, for the unveiling of this kiosk, and your travels through the gardens. I took a quick tour, but I fully intend to take a slow tour and see everything. As you know by now, I am Dr. John Barnett. Isn't that impressive? The first man to hold the coveted office of District Director in Laurel District, and the first male to hold this office in the state of Georgia. Yeah, that's impressive too. I bring you greetings, Ball Ground, from Laurel District to all who are gathered here today. Laurel District is the largest district of the 7 districts in the state of Georgia. We cover 30 counties, from Polk County off the west, all the way across, including Cobb County going up. We don't do Fulton, but we do Cobb going all the way up, and then cutting up to Stevens County and all counties north. They didn't give us Hart County and Franklin County, I don't know why, but anyway, we cover 30 counties in the state of Georgia. Laurel District is not only the largest district, but I dare say the most active district in the state of Georgia. This is evident today with Ball Ground, Botanical Garden, the programs, the projects, and the events that take place here, now, and in the future. Our Laurel District theme for this administration is Plant Gardens with New Horizons. Working together works. That theme shows the work that is done with our clubs and Ball Ground and Natsagada Garden Club, the community, and all of the officials who make this possible, and that should be obvious to us. You have expanded the horizons in gardening through a vision, and that's what it takes. Somebody's vision. Share that vision. Get others to help you, and get others to get excited about gardening and about garden clubs and improving your civic areas. You pulling together, as I said, garden club members, city officials, and the entire Ball Ground community. This proves, my friends, that working together works. Don't worry, I don't have a great big book here as I do when I preach sometimes. It is a pleasure for me to be with you today as this kiosk is unveiled for all to see and for all to enjoy. Today, tomorrow, next year, a decade from now, throughout all eternity on this earth as we know it. This will surely be the talk of Laurel District because I'm going to make sure that it's the talk of Laurel District. This is going to be the talk of the Garden Club of Georgia because I'm going to make sure that it is the talk of the Garden Club of Georgia. And this is going to be the talk of the entire state of Georgia and all states, because I'm a life member of National Garden Club, and I'm going to make sure that this is the talk of all the states in the United States of America. You have made history, and we are going to let folks know what a fairly small community and town can do, but working together works. You are to be commended, thanked for your hard work, and acknowledged in your efforts to offer gardening to your students. I am so excited about that. I did not realize that a school was just in walking distance. And that would be what, 160 students already have come to enjoy what you have done. Let us not forget the visitors that will come to Ball Ground, that will pass by, turn around, and come back to see what's going on. I am convinced that this public garden will continue to grow and evolve as an asset to your community and be an encouragement for other garden clubs and communities across our state to work together, expand our horizons, and use this awesome Ball Ground Botanical Garden as a catapult to do a similar project to beautify, conserve, and educate our communities. You are to be commended. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you again for this tremendous and awe-inspiring opportunity to be a part of this celebration today. I am truly blessed, and I thank you for allowing me to be a part of this wonderful celebration. May God bless you, Ball Ground, Anexa, Gada Garden Club members. May God bless your community. May He bless our state. And may God bless America as we join together to plant America. Thank you very much. May I say one more thing? That wasn't in my talk here, but gentle ladies, I see a lot of gentlemen. And I would love, and I think my wife would too, love to see more gentlemen in our garden clubs. I am sure that Ball Ground Garden Clubs has membership forms that you can fill out or tell them, I'm going to want to be a member. My goodness, look what you have. You say, I work, I do these other things. You don't work 24 hours a day. I don't think. You may. I don't think. So I just encourage the husbands that have been mentioned today. Are you a member? If not, why not? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Barnett. We really appreciate you coming, and you brightened our day.
Thank you.
At this time, Miss Jenny Byers is going to come up and talk about the kiosk and the sponsors that are there. We could not have this without the sponsors.
Thank you, Diane. Yes, we learned that it takes hard work and money to build a garden. And at this time, it's time for us to thank our sponsors. And their names are going to be unveiled, and they're on the kiosk, marble kiosk. And Diane's already told you about that. We got that for free. And when we asked Evan, his salesman there, how much it would cost if we had to purchase that, and he says, well over $10,000. So that was a good gift. So now I want to recognize these people. And we had in planning this, we had 4 different levels of sponsors: platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. And I want to recognize these people that made these donations. And as I call their names, if you're here, would you please raise your hands? Marshall and Kathy Day. That was the first check I received and got very excited about it and thinking, oh, these sponsorships really work. Green Speck Landscape and Supply. Lee R. Grogan Jr. Actually, I know he's not here. He's gone to a university reunion. And Mr. Doug Barrett, I know Doug's here. Thank you, Doug. Doug is one that said when he gave us like $5,000, and then he said, if I sell some property, I'll give you some more money. He gave us another $6,000. And I hope he doesn't mind me telling this. But anyway, I said, Doug, you can get 11 names on the kiosk. So he said, I want to put the names of those that have made me what I am today. And I want to call those names. Margaret Barrett, Bob and Luvine Howell Barrett, Sam and Callie Robertson Howell, Clint and Jesse Garrett Higgins, Virgin May Garrett. Some of you may remember these people. Martin Clyde Roberts, Baker R. Jones, who I worked with in the bank for many, many years, Bill and Hazel Hasty, Paul and Lila Stamper Grogan, who lived over in this brick house right here, and he was a Boy Scout leader for many, many years, and Hope and Selma Avery. And also in memory of by Mayor Rick Roberts, his brother, who died just recently, Judson Wheeler Roberts. And any gold sponsorships that are here, raise your hand. President of the Ball Ground Lions Club, or a member, Sue Dinsmore. Thank you, Sue, for coming. Jenny and David and Joey Byers. Joey Byers is here. And Representative and Calvin Hill, Mrs. Calvin Hill. T. Harrell and Barbara Harris. Olive and Robin Robinson. Bill and Sally Eubanks. Bill just passed recently, but Sally's with us. Silver, $250 donations, the Ball Ground Business and Community Association. The Ball Ground Historical Society, we have Miss Karen, who is the president of that, made the donation. Robert and Beverly Pogue, and Ronald E. and Hazel Pruitt Cochran, John and Sue Urbatus. And for our bronze, we have Eddie and Tammy Brinkley, Paula Dean Doris. I know she's here somewhere. She did the flower that's on our invitation and our program in watercolor. Jim and Betty Edmondson, Mrs. Evelyn Foster, T. L. and Loy Harris and family, Sandra Peacock Homiller, Don and Vicki Holyfield, Vicki's here, Matt and Leah Kelly, they're here, and Edna Megacy, Bill and Elaine Ness, no, Elaine is here, Michael and Diane Smith, of course, and Jimmy and Helen Turner, Portia Masica and Julian Wright, Sylvia Bowles, Jackie and Karen Jordan, Karen's here of course, Vivian, Leslie Little and family, Jack and Suzanne Skelly, John and Jane Whitby, and then in memory of, we had a young man that was killed in a car wreck just recently. His mother works here at City Hall, and his uncle donated this for him in memory of Corey Foreman. And we think this is so neat because we have something for Corey, and his mom can come out and see his name on this monument. And also, he purchased this glider over here that we painted in this lavender color for his, because that's in his memory, because that was his favorite color.
And a redbud tree.
Oh, and a redbud tree. And we have in memory of H.V. and Janie Ridings Byers, Paul and Dorothy Prince Dean, Walter and Stella Harbin Quarles added to that kiosk. And we also have a lot of contributors. Uh-oh. Diane, will you help me with this, please? Just got to get them to the front. There we go. And I want to call the names of these folks also. Because this is what we're here to say thank you, because without your money, we couldn't have this garden. Autumn Hill Nursery, Ball Ground Boy Scouts, of course, the Garden Club members, Blue Ridge Marble and Granite, T.Y. Brown with D-Lab, T.Y., he's here. Buck Jones Nursery, Shannon Chamberlain, Robert Chapman Town and Country Wrecker Service, and he also did this metal flower out in the children's gardens for us. He does metal art. Tom and Evelyn Cox, Al Fowler, Mark Harrison, Gary Pahite, Adam Johnson, Jack Johnson, Stacy Kirby, our artistic garden design. She did give us a design and said you can change it any way you want to, but we did get her input on this garden. And AC and Carolyn Rogers, and Southscape, of course Diane's husband, Mike Smith, his name's on the kiosk. Yep, that gets drug a lot. And Larry Cavender, I don't think he's here, our publicity
He came by yesterday
chairman.
to take pictures so he could do an article.
Good. And we've got Bill Snyder, our videoing for us, and we want to say a special thank you to these people. Their name's not on the kiosk, but also Jim Bird. He's become a friend of the garden.
We
And-
put him to work out here.
Right. And Monroe Mock, who has done printing of our invitations and our programs, and he's been helping anything we go to ask him to do, he does it for us. And now for the unveiling of the kiosk, that leads us up to this. We want to say thank you, but also you can see your name on the kiosk. And Miss Jean Dees and our Vice President, Linda Scrivener, will now unveil the kiosk. So if